This might be my favorite face of makeup I have put on in so long, and it's all affordable. Do you see what's going on right now? Literally, I don't know why I spend my money on high-end products. Somebody tell me, somebody stop me. Oh, wait, yeah, it's my job. But if it wasn't my job, look how hard the drugstore is slaying. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Oh my gosh, have I got a good one for you today. I have got so many beautiful, amazing launches that have come out that are all affordable launches. They are TikTok viral. So we're going to put on a full face of first impressions of all of these things today. A couple of them I've tried out before, but most of these are completely first impressions for me. There's some really exciting, innovative products in here, and they're all on the affordable side. So I'm so excited for you to see today because I love the way my makeup turned out today. So many goodies in this video. So go ahead, grab a snack, grab your cat, grab your makeup, grab whatever it is you want to do and hang out with me. And without further ado, let's get on into it. Okay, for primer today, I'm going to do something a little different. I never go in with grippy primers, but today I'm going to test out two of them that I've heard so many good things about. So this one is the Maybelline Grippy Primer Serum. This sounds like it's going to be a little bit more up my alley because I love a good serum. I have dry skin, and so a serum feels really hydrating, and grippy primers tend to catch on my dry skin a little bit. And then the other one I really want to try out is the limited edition e.l.f. Jelly Pop Dew Primer. This is like an extra grippy, dewy version of their famous Lock It In, the green primer that, you know, we just, so, that I can't think of the name right now. Hydra Grip Primer. Oh my gosh. I need some extra coffee today, so excuse me. So I'm going to test both of these out on both sides of my face and we'll see how this goes. I really hope these don't pill on me, so pray for us. So I'm going to start out with the Jelly Pop on this side here. Now, the big thing with these kind of primers is that did feel really nice and smooth going on. I didn't see it catching too much. I've already let my skincare settle in for a little bit. And the key is with these kind of primers is that you really, really want to allow the full time for them to set and settle. Otherwise, they really can start to just not play well with others and other products that you're going to do. So while that's setting, let's address the elephant in the room. I know I don't have perfect hair today. I really apologize. I kind of just tamed it as best I could. It's wet, it's messy, and, you know, be kind to those of us who don't have time to have perfect blowouts all the time. You know what people do. So that's the tea with that. I apologize if my frizzies just start to like come at you as my hair dries, but we're going to ignore that. And now that I've said it, you probably won't ignore it, but that's on me. As they're starting to dry down, what's so funny is I actually don't feel that much of a difference between the two. And the Maybelline side feels more grippy. This side feels really bouncy. I can see why a lot of people like it because it kind of gives your skin a little bit of a plump as well. And they don't feel too sticky. I'm going to give these a few more minutes, but upon first impression, they actually feel so similar. So if you really liked this, you can't get it, I think this is a really good option. And if you have dry skin, these tend to feel really nice. So we'll see once we put foundation on. Okay, funnily enough, foundation is one of the few things that I actually don't have new from the drugstore today. And so I've got the Missha Perfect Cover Serum BB Cream. I also haven't shared my thoughts on this, but it is so viral on TikTok. This is a Korean formula. Oh my gosh, it is so beautiful. I think we might go in with this today because I have to show you guys how beautiful this is. If you've seen this on a bunch of TikToks, you know what I'm talking about. Everybody just puts this on and has like airbrush skin. And it's a BB cream, so it's going to feel really lightweight on the skin. But I am telling you, this stuff works. You are going to see that for a BB cream, this has such beautiful coverage. It gives a very like natural matte finish, I'd say. So it's got a little bit of a sheen to it, but it's not dewy by any means. And I'm just pouncing, but I don't see any pilling so far from the primer. So that's a really good sign. But can you see just how amazingly beautiful this makes my skin look? I mean, look at that. This is truly such a beautiful product. Look at the difference between this side and this side. This is gorgeous, and it really does such a good job of covering up acne. I've got a little breakout going on this side, and you'll see that even for a BB cream, it covers up my acne so well. Again, another really good side is I'm not seeing any pilling over here with the Maybelline primer, but this side to me looks a little dewier. So I barely need any concealer to cover up my blemish, and my skin looks freaking phenomenal, if I do say so myself. And you saw I didn't start out that way. So I absolutely love this product. I love Korean beauty products so much. I am rarely disappointed by one, and we've got a few more coming in today's video. So I'm so excited, but this is one I just absolutely had to like give its moment on camera because I really think this is so beautiful and will work with almost everyone's skin type. Speaking of K-beauty, TIRTIR had its absolutely crazy viral moment for its beautiful mask cushion foundation, the one in the red compact. And I love that foundation. It's one of my favorites. They recently launched a concealer to go along with it. I've got mine in the shade 1N. What I will say about their old formula is this does tend to oxidize a little bit. So I'm hoping I got the right shade. And what is so interesting about this product is that on one end, you have an actual cream stick formula, and the other end is a beautiful doe foot applicator of like the wet concealer formula. So I think this is genius because I use a stick cream to go over my acne spots, and then I will use a wet one under my under eyes because it tends to be a little less drying. So let's go in with this and just try to give my blemishes a little bit of extra coverage here. I'm just going to give my dark circles a teensy bit of that thicker coverage right in the area I need them. And the reason I'm going in with this first is because I know that this tends to be such a high coverage formula, I'm thinking. And so if I did bronzer and blush first, I don't want it to kind of completely cover up those colored products. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit here. And again, this BB cream did such a good job of covering up and evening out my skin tone that I'm not going to apply too much of this. I'm going to do a little bit of a sculpt right here. Already, I've got a pretty wet, glowy base, so that really helps products that are especially thicker to glide and definitely blend out a lot easier, but this is blending out really beautifully. It's also not as high coverage as I thought it was going to be, question mark. It's actually not a bad thing. I do think, in my opinion, it's tending to oxidize a little tiny bit and kind of adhere to my actual skin tone, which again is a good thing. It's why I bought it in kind of a lighter color, but that's just something to note. It actually feels like nothing. I feel like I'm not even blending out anything extra on top of my skin. It's kind of blending away into nothing too, but that worked really well with the product underneath. Upon first impression, I actually think that's way more workable than I originally thought because it's not like paint all over your skin. Okay, y'all, the skin is in a really good place today. Next, I have two fun products from Morphe that are contours. This is their Contour Stick Sudden Heat. This is their creamy bronzer sticks. I have heard everyone and their mother say that these are incredible, so I'm so excited. And then this is their Shape Lifter Micro Contour Stick. Now, number one, I love something innovative, and I'm always ready to kind of try out a new style and try out a new product, and I like switching up my routine. I was so interested when they came out with these micro contours because I know Victoria Beckham had originally come out with one that I wanted so badly, but it was so expensive. This I definitely felt a little more justified spending the money on. And so I'm really hoping, especially in the nose area, in the hollows of your eyes, if you just want a slightly defined cheek, especially, I actually think this is going to be so wearable for so many different reasons. And what is so great about a bronzer stick is not only its ease of usability, but also the fact that you can cover a large area in a short amount of time. So I think they each serve their purpose. So let's go in. I've got the shade Flicker. I'm going to try one side applying it to my cheek, and the other side I'm going to use a brush so we can kind of see the difference. It is very creamy. Whoa. Did you see how quickly that blended out for me? Oh my goodness. What? And it doesn't look like it lifted up anything underneath. That's beautiful, right? So on the other side, I am going to just pick it up on a brush, the exact same brush, and apply it this way. This is how I usually apply my creams. As much as I love drawing on my face because I really do like the sensation of that, I don't like it when it tends to potentially pick up the foundation and the concealer I've placed underneath. Especially if I have blemishes going on, it's just not a good idea to start swiping over where you've tried to keep your concealer and your coverage. So this is usually my preferred method, but oh my goodness. I would say the blend on this, the easeability, is like foolproof. This is something you absolutely cannot mess up, and it's giving such a beautiful finish that looks so like skin. That doesn't look like makeup on top of my skin, right? Morphe really is doing something so right this year. Oh my goodness gracious. So that is a beautiful product. I would say that it goes on not quite as easily as like a Rare Beauty, but it blends out almost easier. That is chef's kiss. Now let's use our little micro pencil here, and I want to try and contour my nose with this just a little bit. Now see, this one feels like it glides on like even easier. I'm going to take a little bit in my eye socket, a little bit here. Already, I'm like in love with the idea of this. I love the mini contour. Like I couldn't contour my lips like this or even my chin with something as big as the bronzer stick. Yeah, that blends away basically into almost nothing. And I'm barely putting any pressure on this. We're sculpted, y'all. I'm so happy with that.
Okay, you know, my favorite part.
Blush is next. I have got two fun ones to try today. This is the Makeup Revolution, or is it Revolution Beauty? It's Revolution Beauty. I've got the Revolution Beauty Jelly Blush Lip and Cheek Stain. And this is in a really beautiful lavender color. This is in the color Strawberry. And then I've also got the NYX Fat Cheeks Juicy Plump Blush. And I picked mine up in the shade Guava Gush. So I've heard interesting things about both of these, so we're going to try them. They also are like so not in the color family of each other. So we're just going to make that work, but bear with me here. First of all, I'm going to try this Jelly Pop blush stain. Maybe they'll be closer in the family than I think. I don't know. So we'll see. I'm going to pick this up on the back of a brush here. This is just not one of those things I'm messing with swiping. So it just occurred to me I probably shouldn't stain my favorite blush brush. That's all right. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start to tap this on here. Ooh. Okay, but I kind of love that. Ooh. I kind of love how like sheer yet definitely there that is. Like you can almost still see my freckles peeking through, yet it's not like I don't have blush on. Okay, love that. I didn't think I was gonna like that much. Oh, I really like that. Okay. Okay. See, I was about to spend like 25 bucks on the milk one, and I was like, no, I bet you the drugstore has something just as good. And I was right. I can't imagine me wanting anything more out of a blush like this. That is amazing. So for this next one, I've heard that it's so liquidy that you have to keep the packaging upright or it will all spill out. Yeah, it will. That's crazy. Like I can literally see that if you tip this, it would spill everywhere. Okay, so I don't know how much of this to use either. So I'm just going to start with 3 little dots. Funnily enough, besides the NYX not being a stain, the colors are actually pretty similar to each other. And this one is much brighter. As you can see, like the color payoff is a lot more intense than this one. But this one is very nice. Like, did you see how intense the color went on? And then it actually kind of blends out to something way more wearable. So this is actually really beautiful if you don't love like so much blush that it's in your face. It feels very watery, so it doesn't feel like much makeup. So I think you would really like this if I don't want to feel like I'm wearing heavy makeup on is like not your vibe at all. I'm just going to build it up a little bit more so we're kind of matching the pigment level on the other side. And this is nice because this does tell me that you can build these up so they're a little more customizable. What do you think? I feel so pretty. Except for my dry, crusty lips. Let's see if we can fix that. Let's try one of these. I've heard so many good things about these. This is the Essence, the Super Peptide Glossy Lip Treatment. And this is probably supposed to be a dupe for the Rhode, which I've only tested out in store. I don't have one. So it's got a really similar, like very thin applicator, and it's plastic. It's actually not like squishy silicone. And let's see if this can kind of just rescue my lips a little. Ooh, how beautiful is this color? Dang, this is like $3 and that feels really nice. I also love the color. I love like the sort of brownie neutral of that. Beautiful. I think we're at the point where we're going to set our face with some powder. But first of all, what I'm going to do, another Morphe product, y'all. I'm going to try their Solo Artist Priming Cream eyeshadows. These look stunning. I've been super into cream eyeshadows lately, and I love like an overall brown. And sometimes that could be kind of hard to build up myself with some powder eyeshadows. My favorite eyeshadow ever that's cream is the Armani tints, and they are so expensive. So I really wanted something that was going to be kind of comparable to that or to give me the same effect. These are two different products, so they're not going to apply the same, but I kind of wanted the same look for less. And this goes on really nicely. It doesn't look like it's patching. Now, this is a cream. It's not quite a liquid shadow. Liquid shadows are kind of meant to be blended out just like a powder. A cream is going to be a little bit more finicky. It's not going to be as easy to just take a fluffy brush and just distribute it. You're going to have to sort of pack it on, and it's going to act as your primer, but it gives such a beautiful, smooth base and something tacky for the eyeshadows to grip to. And I think this is actually really nice. Let me see how well it blends out. Let's test that theory. Since this edge isn't blended out, I'm going to take a clean blending brush and see if I can sort of manipulate it from here to sort of soften the edges. Yeah, you can. Beautiful. Okay, well, on the train of Morphe doing something right, I love these. I also think the packaging is beautiful. It's so luxe. It's got a really like heavy glass bottle. It's a really nice shiny top. These feel very professional, and it gives you a really nice one and done eyeshadow look if you really wanted. This is gorgeous. Now it's time to powder the face. So I'm going to go in with one of my favorites from the drugstore. This is the Wet n Wild powder, and just set the face really quickly, which is looking pretty good if I do say so myself. And I'll be right back. Hey, I'm back. Okay, so we're all powdered. So what I'm going to do, because I completely forgot, is I'm going to tackle brows next, because I've got a couple of new brow products that are super exciting. First of all, I've got the brand new NYX Lamination Gel, and this is transparent. I have pretty stubborn brow hairs, and they always want to droop, so I'm always looking for a pretty strong hold. I've heard very mixed reviews of this product, so I kind of want to try and see what we're working with here. The applicator is so interesting. I do like the idea that really once the lid comes off, this is really supposed to be an all-in-one. Like you're supposed to be able to completely brush through and then shape your brows and have the product all in one place. I will say that I did do a good job of brushing up my brow hairs for sure. Now, what I'm kind of concerned about is because of the way the formulation is sitting, it might get that like white cast with how much you actually would need to laminate your brows, but we will see. Also, completely my bad doing this after foundation and powder and everything was on. So do as I say, not as I do. Don't do that because that's dumb. It's just that I forgot. Okay, interesting. Now, when I laminate my brows, I constantly can see where the gaps in my brows are. So I really love a good eye pen. No, I really love a good eyebrow pen. Why can't I say that? Okay, anyway. So I picked this one up from L'Oreal. This is their Faux Brow. Now, I have heard amazing things about this. Again, with a really interesting applicator. It's sort of two-pronged so that you can tackle more than one brow hair at a time. So let's go in and try to fill in some of the areas that are pretty sparse. What is interesting is if you need to have a single thin line, like when you get to the tip, you can just turn it to the side and use it that way. So it is pretty innovative, which I do like. So up till now, my favorite brow pen has been the one from Maybelline. And this one, I will say you have to press a lot harder for the product to kind of show up and come out. So the jury's out on both of those because I need to give them both a little bit more of a fair shot. The L'Oreal pen I need to try by itself without that really heavy brow glue kind of getting in the way. But I will say about this brow glue, this is one of the strongest ones I have ever used. Now, do my eyebrows look a little crusty? Also, yes. So I don't know how we feel about that. More Asian beauty gems. I picked up the Unleasha Glitterpedia All of Glitter palette. And so I'm a sucker for glitter, especially in things when it comes like this, because then you can throw in your one small neutral palette for you on vacation and your one glitter toppers, and you're good to go. And you have a bunch of different looks without having the purple glitter palette, and this has this glimmer and this has this glimmer. It's just all kind of in one, and you've got them in both categories. So I love stuff like this. And I cannot wait to try them out because I love how beautiful like K-pop idols, and they have just sparkles on their inner corners and everything like that. So I thought we would just top off the Morphe a little bit today with one of these. They all look so stunning. You can see we have a mixture of like a little bit more of a shimmer here and here, with a little bit more chunky glitters right here in the middle. So I think what I kind of want to do is take this shade down here, which ties in a little bit of gold and a little bit of the brown that we've got going on today, and try to put this all over my lid. I love that. It's sort of like glitter for sophisticated ladies. It's not too in your face, but it's definitely there. That's really beautiful. Okay, that is lovely. I really like that. It's like just enough that it's classy and it catches the light, but your eyes still look really neutral. It just gives them a little bit more interest. So I love that. I'm kind of here for that. Everything in me is like, do the bigger chunks of glitter, but I'm trying to keep myself so classy today. What should I do? I'm gonna try a little bit of this gold one here in the inner corner. How fun is that? Ugh, I love that. Ooh. Okay, let's go ahead. I'm just gonna grab a Morphe palette here and throw on some shadow winged liner, and then we'll test out a new mascara. Okay, hey, we're looking a little crazy because I always put on eyelash primer before I do my mascara. But today we are going to be testing out the Essence Lash Without Limits Tubing Mascara. This says Extreme Lengthening and Volume Mascara. Easy to wash off with no smudging. So I know their Lash Without Limits is one of like their cult favorites. It's a classic. And tubing mascaras seem to be on the rise in popularity, and for such a great price tag. I have really loved Essence mascaras before, and so I really wanted to go ahead and test this out and see if it compares with some of my like $30 tubing mascaras, which I really like them. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I would love it if I had a drugstore alternative. So I'm really hoping this works out really well today. Initially, it is kind of a heavier, moussey formula. It doesn't feel too dry, but it's not too wet. But because this is brand new, mascaras tend to be a little bit of their heaviest before they kind of dry out 2 weeks in. So I will say this does feel a little heavy on my lashes. So this is not going to be one of those, I think, that's going to help you hold a curl pretty easily, but it is building up pretty nicely. Okay, that is the difference with one coat between one eye and the other eye. I will say that this separates really nicely. I think the brush is really nice, even though that's not one of their claims. But for being so thick, it doesn't clump up very easily, which I really like. A lot of lengthening mascaras are like that too, because your lashes look way more lengthened when they actually have room to be separate and kind of get taller rather than all clumped together and pulled together. So lengthening mascaras tend to be really good separating mascara lashes as well. My lashes over on this side are really going through the trenches right now, so don't judge them too harshly. They're in the middle of their growing back phase because it's just like, it's not a good situation over here. But stepping back, this is a very nice mascara. I think it does give pretty good length. Again, we're just gonna ignore this eye because he needs help, you know? He's trying his best over here, but he can't keep up. But overall, I will let you know how the wear test goes. Upon first impression, it does look very nice. I wouldn't say this is one of my like favorite mascaras ever. What I would probably do naturally is go in with a second coat of something to separate this even a little more. But I do think it does give you some pretty nice length. It feels a little heavy on the lashes. I think it does give you some volume for sure and some thickening. So I know I have my favorite mascaras of all time, and that's what I always compare everything to, and they do everything. But I'm not judging this one too harshly. This one is literally like $5 or $6. So I think if you really are into tubing mascaras and you really don't have $30 to spend every few months, this could be a good one if it doesn't flake or smudge. Okay, also from Revolution Beauty, I've got one of their Bouncy Blur blushes, and I've got mine in the shade Light as a Cloud Peachy Pink. And the formula of these are really so beautiful. I also love the packaging as well. They feel like really gorgeous butter, and then they have such a beautiful sheen to them, and they're very light. They're just a perfect, almost like blush topper. So I'm gonna go ahead and top my cheeks. I think this is gonna be a perfect color for today. I didn't even plan that. That is not a blush brush, Sophie. How dumb can we get? Okay, this is the brush I was looking for. Oh, and it fits so perfectly in this little pot. It makes me so happy. It's the little things in life. And I'm just going to brush this right over what we've already got down. So that really is pretty. And the pigment is actually way more intense when you apply it with a brush than with your finger. And I do think that actually added a little more blur to my cheek. It didn't quite make it matte, but I do see that there's not a lot of the shimmer particles in it that are really peeking through. It really just gives you a nice blurred wash of color instead of like a juicy, shimmery wash of color, if that makes sense. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's stunning. So again, Revolution Beauty is also one of those brands that have really just like revamped everything and done really well this year. So I'm very happy for them. Last but not least, Morphe came out with lip liners and their new Lip Filter Hydro Plump Soft Matte Lipsticks. I just picked one of each color and I didn't even plan this full face, and all the colors seem to go together so well. I'm so happy about that because truly, I tried to pick colors that were not colors that I already had in my arsenal, and all of these peachy tones are something I don't often wear. I usually wear pink. So I think when I was getting all of this, I was in the same mindset, which is get peach. You don't have any. So I'm so glad these all go together so well. I'm going to quickly wipe off this lip treatment, which feels very, very nice, by the way. I would say those Essence ones have pretty good lasting power as well, because through all of this talking and all of this time sitting down, it didn't budge. So I actually really like that. So I picked up the liner in the shade Junior Sweet. So, oh, and the sun's going away. So hopefully these two colors will kind of mesh well. Feels like a really nice classic liner formula where it's a good creamy pencil where you can really, really smudge it out if you need to, but it's not too creamy where it feels like a lipstick in a pencil form. You know what I mean? It's also a really nice color. It really is like your lips, but a little bit darker and a little bit more shaded. So that is beautiful. And this went on so well because I can tell it doesn't claim to be a super long lasting formula, but it's a really classic, beautiful matte formula that still has a glide to it without being too much like it's just going to wipe off immediately. You can still kind of play with it, but it's there to stay once it's set. In fact, I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to take whatever is left on my powder puff and just set that into place so that it stays a little longer. Okay. And then let's try, I picked up their stick lipstick in the shade Petal, and it's got a really gorgeous embossed M on this. How good is Morphe doing with like their packaging even? This looks like something that could be like from Hourglass. It's so nice and heavy. It's got a beautiful embossment on it. I am just so impressed. Now, I am not the biggest fan of matte bullet lipsticks or just bullet lipsticks in general classically, because I tend to feel like I don't really know why I'm using them if they don't stay on my lips, if they don't really feel hydrating. So it's not like a gloss and it's not like the pigment color is going to stay there. So I'm kind of like, why am I using you? And you kind of feel like chalk. But this is really beautiful. Also, I don't have any filler in my lips if you can't tell. So a matte bullet lipstick tends to bring out all these little lines in here, but I really did want to try it for you guys to sort of see the formula. And it is very nice. It just looks very classic. Nothing wrong with it lipstick formula. I'm not sure that this is going to be my favorite product I reach for all the time. But for anybody who really likes things like that, I think this is so sleek. So beautiful. I love that the packaging has the color you are actually going to grab for. This is something beautiful to stick in your purse. Absolutely. And they've got a beautiful range of nudes as well. So this is actually something that is stunning and very sophisticated. And it might encourage me to use it more often. I would just have to take better care of my lips. But for funsies, let's top that off with a little bit more of the Essence, the Super Peptide, because I freaking loved this stuff and it matches my top. But for somebody who has a bunch of lines in their lips, a product like this just gives like that extra plump in the lips and kind of fills in those lines that I'm looking for. So I love this product so much. 10 out of 10. It is like not too thick, but it feels really nourishing on the lips. Well done, Essence. And then just to top everything up, I'm going to go in with the MCO Beauty Miracle Flawless Setting Spray. The scent on that is not my favorite, y'all, but my sister loves it, so each to his own. All right, guys, that is the finished look. What do you guys think? I had so much fun today, and frankly, I think this is one of my favorite looks that I've done on myself, like, in a long time. And it's all drugstore, y'all. I'm telling you, I don't know why we buy high-end anymore. I mean, I do, because like there are some things truly, this is like so a side note, I'm just being like a friend now and we're just like chit-chatting. But there was this YSL highlighter that I walked into Sephora and swatched the other day, and I was like, that's why you spend more for certain things. They're just some things that are different. And like the Rare Beauty highlighter is one of them. But anyway, we're getting off on a tangent. Same with the Dior highlighter, which they reformulated again. Why? But anyway, to recap, I think that honestly, one of the stars of the show, I still think, is the Missha Perfect Cover Serum BB Cream. I love this stuff, and when I run out of this, which I will repurchase it. I think it is beautiful and is contributing to a lot of why I like my complexion so much today. So the jury's out on the TIRTIR concealer. I actually think it's holding up really well, and for me, this is not a lot of creasing on my under eye. I think my under eyes look really smooth today. It was a lot thinner than I expected. Again, in my opinion, kind of a good thing. But I'll see how it wears. I'll have to play with it a little more when the base isn't so absolutely perfected already. So this kind of gave it like, this wasn't really needed today, which I never say. And I do think it's such a great innovative idea for sure. The two blushes I actually couldn't love more, especially this one. And I think nobody's talking about these a whole bunch, but I loved the way my skin looked when this went on. It was a lot of color payoff without another layer on top. It didn't feel like another layer of makeup on top of it. So these are beautiful for different kinds of people and different occasions, but I totally think something that's really well worth it. Oh, the primers. Frankly, for a dry-skinned girl, I think the primers look really well. I will go ahead and try to do a wear test today. I have to go to the gym tonight. I have a really heavy-duty dance class tonight, so I'll try to see if my makeup can hold up through that, and I'll give you guys an update for sure. But as far as application, this didn't pill at all, which is my number one fear with primers like this. So yay to both of those. This is also holding up extremely well because my eyelids, I have hooded eyelids and they tend to crease like crazy. So the fact that this isn't creasing at all and I didn't set it with powder is beyond amazing, which means that I can throw this on and run out the door and have an eye look completely done already. So I think this is beautiful. The colors in this range are gorgeous as well. And I think they're absolutely stunning. So everything in this video that's Morphe was like a 10 out of 10, including these Morphe contour sticks. Are you kidding me? I rarely get excited about contour like I do blush, but these made me like so, like I want to do that again. I want to like put those on again because that was so much fun to apply, because that was like the easiest blend of my life. This might be one of my top picks of this entire video. Gorgeous. Some picks I'm a little bit like, I'm not sure we need that, is any of the brow products that we used and the Essence mascara. It could be because I'm having a bad lash day, but this isn't like my favorite mascara that I've ever used. It's nice, and I will see how I feel about the brow products, because what I will say is I think this NYX lamination is holding my brows, and that's very rare for me. So I will give it that. It does look like it could be a little bit on the like white ashy side, but that could be me with the foundation. I will try it again and give you my final thoughts. This pen, I don't know if it did anything, or I have to press really hard, which scares me because I can't make it look as natural as possible when I have to press that hard. So we shall see about these. And then literally so stunning, so fun. If you really like a neutral, fun glitter palette that has a couple of different, what is it called, finishes in it, then I think this is stunning. I believe this was $24. And so by comparison, by the way, Natasha just dropped a couple that are $82. So I love this, and I think the packaging is really stunning. And honestly, with most K beauty products, you really can't go wrong. They have all been so beautiful, the ones that I have tried. So I really, really love this. And I think they do glitter so sophisticated. It's like cute and fun with sophistication, and it's not cheap. And that's what I really like about their kind of products. And then last but not least, the lip combo today I think is really stunning. Again, super classic. I feel like I'm in the 90s with these products. My favorite by far is this Essence. I will go and back and pick another one up immediately because this is so affordable and feels wonderful. With how many lip balms have come out, this is one of my favorites, hands down, that I've tried. It's not thick and goopy, but it feels very nourishing and it has a little bit of pigment to it. So I love this across the board. And frankly, I'm in love with these liners. I think these liners are so classic and beautiful. And then if a bullet lipstick is your thing, I think you're going to absolutely love these. Maybe I'll use this more, who knows? And it'll turn me into a bullet lipstick gal because everything else about it is gorgeous. But usually these products are just not my cup of tea, but that's just personal preference. All right, guys, that was so much fun. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I would love to have you in my cozy corner of the internet where we all try to live life a little more beautifully. So I hope you gained a new bestie in me, and that means I will see you in the next one. Bye.